find out from Jeannie.
Thank you.
That 2,900 is a mistake.
On what page?
That interest income, where it makes it 11,000.
Do you have an update?
That's all a mistake, so just ignore it. Because I met with her today, and they're working on. We're still researching the interest.
11,000.
I know, but the entry is. But it's fun.
Well, you do it once in your life. You see over the gates that you don't see usually. Yeah, I did that. And go up to the fan.
Okay, we're ready.
That too is well worth your time.
I went to Frank Sinatra's today for the first time. We're on air.
Yeah, we're on.
So,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I will call this meeting to order at 2:59.
Okay, so I'll do the roll call. Harry Courtright is absent. Ashley Dunphy,
Present.
Linda Feuderer, Ed McBride,
present.
and Ron Willison is absent. And the agenda was posted on or before February 15th.
Great. Okay, approval of the minutes.
I so move.
A second?
Any added starters?
Do you vote on the
Oh,
minutes? I
Do we
don't-
need to?
We
vote
don't,
on the minutes?
technically, we don't need to vote on the minutes. You just need to make sure that they're correct and accept the minutes. But
Okay.
historically, we were just, yeah. So
Should we then?
go ahead. Just, I don't know. What do we always
I never
do.
put it in the minutes.
Oh, you don't? It's funny. Okay, so
I'll
the minutes are as written, huh? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, should I make a motion then on that or move on? What are we deciding?
The minutes are accepted. There are no corrections or additions.
If there are no corrections, then they're
Ready for filing.
accepted.
Okay, perfect.
Technically, yeah, it's so
Pretty
funny.
adequate.
Okay, go ahead. So no, we don't need a,
Okay, added
Oh.
starters? Nope, nope. Okay, well, no public comments either, I guess. Nobody's
No.
here.
We may have a guess, I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Linda, treasurer's report.
Okay. I'm going to give you.
Turn on your mic.
Normal.
turn on your mic.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it. The normal treasurer's report. And this is redundant for Jeannie and Ed, but Ashley, and I hope maybe Ron and Harry will be watching the replay of our trustee meeting. And I'd like you to look in your packet at particularly two pieces of information. 2/8/18, expenditure and audit trail. I want to explain what those numbers are if you don't know what those numbers are. And so as we move forward with our budget and we talk about the budgeting for the next year from the subcommittee, we all are on the same page. If you look down, the first number is the carryover from last year, $1,800,000. We are talking approximately about $8,500 in interest, and we will talk about that further when it's updated better.
Right, and I can explain about that too.
Okay.
We're doing some research so that when you see that, this is in the future library projects account, the $8,500, what the finance department does is they estimate how much interest income you will earn, and they go ahead and put that into your interest income account. And so that's the $8,500. And if we earn more, then we'll get the difference. If there's a shortage, they take the difference, which has happened in the past because we used to budget $30,000, and then they moved it down to $10,000, and now it's $8,500, and just the interest rates just have gone so poorly.
Yeah, we are gonna talk about
There is in your interest income, there is just at this point that sheet, just kind of ignore it. This one that says revenue audit trail
Right.
for interest income, because there's a $2,975.85 receipt, but that is something that they are currently working on, and that they've actually pulled that out, which you'll probably see that next month as you won't see it. So they're working on the interest income from last year to make sure that we got it, and then they'll be posting eventually our first and second quarter for this fiscal year. So you'll see all of that. So just the interest income, just discard or ignore.
Okay,
that
but we
one.
do have the 8.5 at this point that's in the trust fund, right?
Well, it was your money to begin with, and
Right.
they are just taking that over and putting that as a placeholder in the interest income
Right.
account. So
Okay.
it's just, yeah.
All right, you go
And
down.
when will we
you-
know
oh,
the final
sorry.
amount? I'm sorry.
Well, you actually did earn last fiscal year $14,000. I can tell you the exact amount somewhere. Maybe.
For 2017,
Mm-hmm.
about 14,000.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll get that.
okay. Well, I'm gonna go on, Jeannie,
Yeah, go
until I
ahead.
find it, so we'll be. And I'm reading these off so that we keep track of this, so that I wasn't clear and now I'm watching it, because that's exactly an example of, if we don't look, we really aren't aware. Okay, the 6.5 is the money that the board voted to pay for the architect drawings way last when we were at the convention center. The 10,000 is now the request from our librarian for her book money, so that's come out. The 19,000 is from accessing the past that has gone back to the trust fund. The 150,000 is the initial amount that we budgeted for the Wellwood Murray patio project. The 2,000, I'm giving you round numbers, you have them in front of you. The 2,000 is the return from the sunscreen, and the other small amounts are gifts of 100 and 200. So you can see where we are here. The only money that has not been returned, $11,790.21, is from the sunscreen. That project is finished, I am told, and so that should be coming back to our trust fund. So that is what we have to work with. All of our projects that we had voted for are funded. Jeannie's Furniture has been funded. Checks in the mail, that's a completed project and wonderful. The other thing I want you just to be aware of, on the other 2/15/18 expenditure audit trail, when we have anybody from planning come to help us out with a project, we are paying for that time. And at this point, it's about $1,500 and some dollars for them to sit there and speak to us. And so my bottom line to that is all subcommittees that are working on projects really to make sure when we invite somebody from planning to come, that it's a pretty solid deal, because we're really paying for that time. So that's the end of what I have to say about the month's budget.
And I found the exact amount that you earned last year on interest income.
Okay.
Which was $14,797.20. I'm not sure if it's already in your account. I mean, it didn't go anywhere.
No.
But whether or not
But
it
it's
got,
just a matter of moving
it's
things
visible
over.
that we can see it. So
And
just,
reading the budget from this city, I think it's taken 1.5 years for me to get it all together, because for me, the numbers don't add up. And when I try to do the math and figure out where it is, it's hard. So I think the meeting with Jeannie and Ed was real clarification for me. I hope a little bit better for other people. And that is where we sit right now with the trust fund money. And that's into my report.
Okay, any questions?
I just wanted to add one thing about the statistics. We missed one number on the statistics on your sheet, and it is last year's Wi-Fi computer sessions at the main library. That number is 2,639. Just missed that.
Yeah, I found this really interesting, and if you look at the door count of Wellwood Murray, it's down in January. And I wonder if that's attributed to the opening of the well in the desert, where people had another place to go during the day.
That's certainly possible, but I think we've just seen the trend drop off every month. Since that first year, when the first year we opened, we were super busy, and we had a lot of interest and a lot of traffic. I mean, the numbers are still solid, but
Oh, yeah.
it has every month declined in this fashion compared to the year before. So I'm not sure about that.
I thought
that being
about
a
that. I thought
contributing factor.
the clientele at the Wellwood is pretty consistent on the computers on most days. And so I thought, well, there is another place to spend the day, and I have missed a couple of the regulars there and wondered if perhaps they're taking advantage of the well of the desert.
I'm not sure, but what's interesting is that the computer use has increased.
Yeah,
So the
you wonder.
door count has decreased, but the computer use has increased, so
Yeah.
who knows?
And your counter counts
Per
it-
session.
per session.
Yeah, yeah, and our door count,
People using it over and over.
our door counter is very accurate, and the computer counter's accurate, and the Wi-Fi really does track it, so we're happy with the tracking systems.
How did you get so many more volunteer hours this year?
Julie Warren, our PR manager and volunteer coordinator, and other duties.
Yeah, so we have gotten a lot more new volunteers, and we're happy to say that we have our computer area almost fully staffed. All the hours the library is open. There's just a few shifts that are available right now, which is a huge help to the public who are using the computers and need the help. And when staff doesn't have the time to really help them like our volunteers do. So that's great. That's been a big help. So lots of new volunteers, lots of snowbirds coming back to volunteer. So that just helps our numbers go up and up.
Everybody at the party worked on the computer side of the building. We didn't even know who they were. Who? Had to laugh at that.
Okay, report from the Friends Liaison.
I would just say to you, the Friends are busy as bird dogs, and congratulations, Julie and Ron and the Friends, for another unbelievable Palm Springs Speaks event. That was so well done, so well handled, and I heard tons of comments and good things. Some of us non-believers became believers there that night, I have to say. It was very inspiring, if that's that. And their annual meeting, so everybody get ready for that and let them know you're coming. And I think that is about all. They're doing their house now, right, Ed? And
I was there.
yeah.
Yeah, I have some information from Jackie, too.
Okay,
if you want
great.
me to give that. So they did host 2 house tours today. 2? 4. 4 house tours today. Yes, completely sold out of the Stevens home. Stevenson or Stevens? Dr. Stevens' house. And they are currently doing a lecture at the library the Desert as Muse. It did sell out. Oh, awesome. Parking, sold out. And the Friends will have their annual meeting on Sunday, March 25th at 2 o'clock. Yes, this is interesting, it's not the same. At Amin Casa, the former Gloria Swanson estate. It is free to members of the Friends of the Library, or it is $20 for non-members, which gets you a membership to the Friends. And they are also participating in the 1 PS Neighborhood Picnic, which will be on Saturday, March 24th from 11 to 2. So come out and visit them. Yes, thank you. The Friends Annual Book Sale is this weekend, and it's a little bit different because we've had some issues in the building next door, the Fry building. So it will be February 23rd and 24th inside the library from 10 to 5. You do not need to be a Friends member to access. That's typically what they do. The first day they give access to Friends members only. But this one will be in the library. They'll have a lot of great things, CDs, DVDs, books, all kinds of different books. They've got a lot of stuff ready to go. So come out and see them. And cheap deals, great deals on books. And I think that's it for the Friends report.
Okay, so legislative action, request for leave of absence from Harry Courtright.
I so move.
I second.
I second.
And then you have to say all in favor.
How long?
All in,
Or
sorry.
did you?
How
Oh,
long
yeah.
is the leave?
Harry's asked for 2 months off. I would say maybe be a little bit more lenient on the time frame because
Okay.
we just don't know how long it could be. In the past, we have granted leaves to board members in, what was the one before? 10 months or a year and a half, or it was a long time. It was a long time. So, yeah, I would say,
And
play it by
as
ear.
needed.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But probably
Yeah.
2 to 4 months, and then just play that by ear. Because his term doesn't end until 2020. So he has a long term left. So,
So, all in favor to allow a leave of absence for Harry Courtright?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
With sadness,
yeah,
we miss him.
yeah.
If you're watching, we miss you.
Budget proposals.
okay, Linda, did you want to talk?
No, I'll wait
or-
till the subcommittee, and this is your budget, Jeannie, is it not?
This is the stuff that we talked about. So I'll kick it off, and then we will go into the spending requests. So, my regular library budget, the city is doing, we are in the planning to do a 2-year budget. So we are just taking our budget for the current year and keeping the information flat as far as we can, unless there are unforeseen circumstances. So my budget, my operating budget, which is this spreadsheet that you've got, is the same. And the personnel information will be updated by finance because there are changes that will take effect, which will be like our benefits and our PERS contributions. So there are some costs that will increase. And then on page 3 at the bottom, the insurance, facility, maintenance, service, and benefits administration, those items may also change. But the information that we will just be dealing with in the library would be under the total materials, supplies, and services, and then the Wellwood operating budget. So we're comfortable with our budget. We can make it work, and just if we need funds in one account versus another, we can just adjust that, but staying within our funds. And then I did do a request, and so it is going to City Council. I did a request to ask for a part-time librarian, and it made it through the first round of requests, so that's good. It'll will be going to council, so I'm very, very happy about that, because we do really need the help, because there are a lot of great things that we could do. And then I did a request for the Fry building for the needed repairs that it needs, and that I think is going to happen pending City Council approval. And then we are also in need of doing something at the main library to keep it going until we can find the resources to get a new library. And so we're optimistic that these things will go forward, and it won't affect my operating budget as far as the materials and supplies. But those things are on the table, and I'm very happy about that.
Wonderful.
Jeannie, you had mentioned once that you get money from inland cities, or do you outside funding from the county or something?
No, well,
How does that work?
what would happen if if Palm Springs Library was part of the Riverside County Library system, is that the Palm Springs tax dollars would be, a certain portion of that would be allocated toward library. But because we are a city library, it's not a true transfer of funds. There's not a library tax per se, but there are just property taxes. And so there's this estimated amount of how much the city would lose if they took the county, took the library into the county system. So
Okay.
there is just an estimate of what would happen,
And that's based off of the taxes,
yes.
property taxes that
Yes.
are paid here in Palm Springs. Okay.
So the city is we're very fortunate that we do have a city library because we get a really great service for our funds, and the city does supplement what would be estimated for the county, which would be about $1 million. So we are very lucky, and but our residents really do benefit from having a city library versus a county library. Because when you're, a county library, there's nothing to, it's not a horrible situation, but you share with 33 other branches. And here, we have one. And so it's really nice to walk in and be able to get the newest, hottest books and the newest DVDs and not have 200 people in line ahead of you for the newest book. Or, that's an example. We have really great programming. We're able to do some really nice events. We have a great budget for that. Our programming is first rate, first class city, first class library, world class city, world class library. So we're in a great place.
Okay. Can you tell me on the Wellwood Murray at the very bottom, Wellwood contractual? What's that?
That is for the Bureau of Tourism staff.
Yeah.
That's their costs to run the library, to sit at that desk and offer visitor center services and to help people with the computers and to work
And the
there.
city pays that.
We contract that out.
Yeah, it is a contract situation, which is more economical for us than to hire
Oh, yeah.
city staff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, you don't know that.
No, that's great.
Okay, good for you.
And then at some point, when do you want to cover the Library Board of Trustees spending requests?
Well,
Because
I think
this
when we
should,
get to the
this should be-
committee reports, no?
I think it should be now because this is a legislative action and your committee reports are simply reports and no action.
We need to approve our budget.
Yeah, so that would be at this point.
You
So
want to do that?
do you want to
Okay.
talk about that now, or do you want to?
Well, you're saying we should do it now.
Right, I mean, do you want to vote on this first, or you want to put it together as a package, or?
I think because of what we're going to present, we can do it as a package. There's nothing earth-shaking.
Okay.
That's different. Your budget is fine, complete, and we approve of that budget. And so, actually, for your benefit, Jeannie and I and Ed sat for a very long talk about the budget, and Jeannie developed this very fine spreadsheet, which you will see, which is most helpful for me. So if you take a look, you can see what the trust fund balance is as of January 31. Underneath it are the things that have been voted on by the Board of Trustees and the things we're working on right now. And Jeannie's, her trust fund books rolled over, and we'll get down to what we're going to approve for next year. And the only open piece that we have at this point is the Wellwood Murray Library. Okay. So the requests for 1819 are, as you see, Jeannie has asked for a little more money for her ebooks, Jeannie, and Ed and I feel that that is well worth our time and money. So there you will see what we are going to put into that. The next piece of business that, in my opinion, absolutely has to happen is a strategic plan. And we are estimating up to 50,000, maybe less, and it may be a tad more, depending on the services that are rendered when we get the contract from that, okay? So right now, we are looking at 50,000 at least. These two pieces here have come out of a budget that is for the board's needs, like our name tags and other kinds of things, and paying for our dues. And that was 3,700 or something. And we decided that 250 covers us in the one area, which is our membership, and 125 is more than enough. If we have a new board member, that's more than enough to cover the badge. And that extra money is not down here, but that extra money will go back in the trust fund. About, I added it up, 3,625 is what's left from that big amount of money that was on that line. You can see Jeannie has another draw, and that is from that designated fund that she can do her book fund. So she's really put in good shape. You see the grand total of expenditures, etc. Following that are things that are coming back to the trust fund for this year. That the LED sign, the foundation, we're estimating another payment of $10,000. And then the interest, which we've had a little conversation about, will change. But we can look forward to having some money come back and keep an eye on that so it gets moved over there and we know it's there. And then we hope we have some donations. And so this is the budget that's in front of us for right now. And I'm going to make a recommendation, two recommendations. That one, we look at how to draw a little better interest on the money we have. And that involves meeting with the city finance director. And Jeannie will set that up after everybody gets their budgets done. But I think maybe we can do better with what we're doing. We've been told we can do better. And so I think the dialogue to do that should be done. Probably by spring we'll have some answers on that. And please read the little notation at the bottom. This took quite a bit of discussion. This budget, I am really recommending we hold our feet to the fire here. We do have another $350 to pay to the landscape architect or historian. So that's a little bit over and above the Wellwood budget, but that's a done deal and that has to be paid. If a subcommittee comes into us and says, we're over budget, this is what we need, it is the feeling of the finance committee that that needs to be justified. There really needs to be reason why you need another $4,000. And it's imperative that the projects try to stay in the budget that's set. So right now you're probably the only working subcommittee we have going that needs finances. But we really feel that it's imperative, and when we look at how much money we planning to keep coming in and redrawing and reworking. So we hope every time there is a subcommittee with finance needs, if you need to come back, you will come back and present it to the board, and at the next board meeting it will be up for vote. We will not and cannot take a vote on it that day because it was not on the agenda. So that gives your treasurer time to look where we're going to dig that money up, where we're going to find it, is it there, and it also pushes all of us on committees to really do our homework very well with the people we're working with. So that notation at the bottom. So I would like a motion to approve the city librarian's budget for the year and the recommendations from the subcommittee.
I'll second that. Okay, all in favor?
I just said I'd like a motion.
Okay.
Is there discussion,
So
Mr.
moved.
McBride? Oh, you have nothing more to say?
Um,
Any comment
We
at
have
all?
to move first and then we can discuss, right? So, yeah, I think that this represents what we need to do for this year, tightening up, which is I think, an objective, especially not knowing what might lie ahead for new building projects. So I think we need to start watching our money and know where we're going to spend in the future. And I think the review process is just a fair process for us to plug into this. And so we're all aware of where the money's going from this point forward. So there's 3 of us here, so we can get that approved for you. But I think that's a great direction to go, and just be organized more around it.
Agreed.
Okay, so all in favor? Aye.
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 My other comment is just a personal one
Did you
about
vote?
that. Yes, I did. I said aye. Did I say aye?
Yes,
No.
I heard
I
it.
remember.
Said aye. We're having a little problem here. I feel personally, when someone comes and asks us for money, I really feel kind of panicky because I don't have enough information. And I just need time to think about that. And that's happened to me a lot since I've been on the board. And there is a need for excess money. Projects never go the way we planned them. Maybe being clearer on the front end, maybe starting with our idea and then telling the planner what we want rather than these exorbitant plans coming to us and then we reduce them, might be a better example. But I think by making that process slow down a little bit, we all have time to really internalize what we're doing. Is this correct? And have a better dialogue about where we're going, particularly now that the focus is on a building and every penny is going to count. So that's a personal comment about the process. I'm just really, last time we were both looking at each other and going, oh, we don't like this and we're being pushed. And so I think it's a clearer vision.
I think that's a great idea, and hopefully we won't run into the same problems that we did with the Wellwood, where it's change after change after change that we're paying for each time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope so too. May not work that way, but I think if we're more in control of our project from the get-go and really know what we're doing on this end, it's easier to give that dialogue to planning. We don't want light bulbs hanging off the ceilings. That's unnecessary, but we need good lighting. There's very much a difference in that concept. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, strategic plan review.
Okay, so I met with our procurement and contracting department and got some questions and feedback on the strategic plan. And so they just wanted me to be sure that you all had had a chance to review this, and we should make sure that we're all on the same page when we put out the request so that we all get the desired effect. And there are questions that come back and we'll say, oh, well, whatever. We do have some comments and questions. One of the ones specifically that I was thinking about was that I hope you all had a chance to review this. And thank you, Ed, for putting this together. And Ed, you might want to talk about this if you aren't.
If you want me to, but you're doing a good job.
Okay, well, Ed was really great and went out and did some research and found some templates and put that together for us. And so we looked at it, and one of the things that I was concerned about just specifically was doing a telephone survey, because I'm really concerned that there are a lot of people that don't have home phones, and would the information be skewed because you're not hitting the people who don't have home phones?
Or don't answer them.
Yeah.
Because
that's
they
the
don't know
truth.
who you are.
Right. And so I don't want us to, if that's not important, if there are other ways to get the information, maybe we don't want that as part of our proposal because we don't want to waste our money doing that if we already know or are afraid that the information is going to be skewed. So that was one thing that just came to my attention. I was a little nervous about that.
I guess my question on that, Jenny, would be if the consultants come back that we've selected and they say that we have a proven method that telephone or online surveys have worked for us, we would still consider that, right, if they have a proven method. You're just saying
Yeah.
that from the get-go you prefer that they do something more in person? Is that what you're leading?
Not necessarily. I'm just, it just caught my eye, and I went, oh, I don't know.
I agree.
how that would work, what results we would get, and if they
Agree.
would be skewed in a way that we didn't want
Yeah.
I support that.
Would you have that survey on the website or on the Friends
Don't know.
website?
Whatever we want to do, that's, yeah, I think that, and we do need to allow time in this project to have time for the surveys to be,
Right.
gathered.
Right.
Because we don't want to put too tight of a time crunch on this and then not allow enough time for community
Well-
events or whatever it might be that we decide to do.
In my mind,
And
the
surveys.
time restrictions up to a certain extent are okay. I don't think that we should restrict their methodology, because the consultants come back and say, we don't do telephone interviews anyway for the very reason you said, but we have found that if we do an online survey and we pick from a database and we don't want to put it on the website, there's all kind of reasons. They may come back and meet our needs for there. We just have to be open for that as part of our evaluation, but I hear you.
Yeah, and I know, but as far as our procurement department goes, they will get questions from people who are wanting to do proposals, and we just want to be prepared with
Agreed.
answers so that, and we want to ask for really what we want, and if,
Can you incorporate other where are you on what page? I apologize.
I'm not really
Yeah, she just
specifically
deleted
on
it.
anything.
She just edited, when I pulled this
Yeah.
together, I went out to kind of, actually, I think I borrowed about 6 different proposals from friends who've done them. And they range from everything from what you just said, we'd like to have a telephone.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking that telephone versus having meetings in
Right.
person.
Yeah.
And for some communities, they just don't want to do that and host all those meetings. But I think that's really our
Page
call.
3 at the bottom, the methodology.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could incorporate all technology in their telephone, websites.
We don't have to, that's already kind of in there. It's
Is it
a
in there?
given. Yeah, because
Okay.
I really don't know, so I say you're wanting to strike number 3. I think that's quite all right. I just don't think we want to get in too much detail on, we want you to do it this way. Let's let them
Yeah.
come back in their
Yeah.
proposals and say, this is how we go about doing the data gathering, and we consider those. By the way, if they come back and say, we do it mental telepathy, we'll go, oh, that ain't gonna work for us. So it
Right.
gives us a chance to say, what are your ideas, and we strike what we want from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and Julie
Can
couldn't
I-
speak because she's.
I was just gonna ask a question about that. So if they came back to you and said, all right, we have used phone surveys in the past, they work well for us, whatever, would you then counter back to them about, have you used them in this community?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay, because that is
Absolutely.
a big concern with them, as Jeannie said, the number of people that don't
Absolutely.
have home phones and that don't have them here. I, for one, live here in Palm Springs. I have no home phone, and my cell
I don't
phone is
either.
a different area code.
What
So I
I'm
would
seeing
never-
personally, and I've answered a bunch of these recently, is that it's more of using the email list that someone has, like maybe you guys would have, out to users and say, would you mind finishing a survey for us?
Yeah.
I think that's probably what we're gonna see from most of them.
I think people are not answering their phones. I'm one. If I
Yeah.
don't know that, I'm not talking to you.
Exactly.
And I agree with you, Julie. A lot of people are cell phone and.
But I just wouldn't
different-
want to have them prove it in this area
Yeah.
before you said yes or no. So what Jeannie was alluding to is I did have a question about that same section methodology. It says the library is not committed to any particular methodology for a long-range plan. The method proposed by the consultant response must include : which makes me think there's a list of things it has to include. But then the way the 1, 2, 3, 4 reads doesn't seem like a list of things to include. So I had proposed some different possible language.
Yeah, the language is too strict. Can't put in.
Let me see if I could read this small tiny writing. I'm getting old. Ooh. Okay, so I said maybe 1 through 4 statements should be rephrased to the following. So number 1, a demonstrated plan outlining how the consultant will work with steering committee, incorporating best practices and proven methods. And then number 2, I suggested gathering community input using varied tools such as surveys, focus groups to
better.
provide data to analyze and incorporate into a long-range plan. And then number 3, number 4, an outline of proposed methodology the consultant recommends to provide the best results and information gathering techniques. So that's more of like a list
It
than
is.
it was phrased
And it's specific.
initially. It was just a suggestion.
By
of,
the
like
way,
mine a lot
you're
better.
not gonna call my baby ugly by insulting this, so,
I didn't
you
even
know.
know where this
yeah,
came
Oh,
from.
I think,
no, no.
I think that's perfectly all right. That sounds
Okay.
much
I like
better.
that,
I
that
love
it's-
that.
Yeah.
It's still kind, it tells
I
them
have-
what we want, but it gives
Yeah.
them some leeway
Flexibility.
to,
Absolutely.
Do it
The
in
word
the-
must
whatever.
could be softened, should include, might include.
Yeah.
That, I mean, must include locks you into that. And the opening Palm Springs Public Library mission statement, the Palm Springs Public Library provides our, and I would like to see the word diverse community.
Oh, we have some,
Yeah, I made some.
Julie's
Did
already
you
made
do
some
that, Julie?
suggestions too.
Good girl.
Just
Well-
to update some of
Now,
the,
don't get all.
the
No,
information.
no,
Sure, I-
no.
No, we're kidding you.
I think that, I pulled
That's
that from
Yeah,
wherever
the
we had it.
website.
Our
But I
website,
think
yeah.
that what we might see is through this process, we might end up massaging that anyway as part of the
Yeah,
strategic plan.
absolutely,
So
yeah.
that's
Absolutely,
my
that usually
deal.
does happen, so
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's very good. And it's a good checkpoint if, it either proves it or it shows you where you maybe need to make some adjustments. The only other
Agreed.
thing I did recommend, was to delete the, the first line of the third paragraph under, or the second paragraph under introduction, where it says the library was founded in 1941. Technically, that's not true. That's when the Wellwood opened, but it's not exactly when the library was founded. So I just thought it's better. You kind of gave the history in the first, and so I
Yeah.
thought it's better just to strike that.
I got that from somewhere. I didn't make that up, I promise.
No,
I don't know where I got it.
that's okay.
Well,
And
there's
then I
been
just had a few
5
other little
different libraries.
wording things about the Wellwood and things like that. Just
Yeah.
very, you know.
Well, remember, my intention here was to incorporate the Friends, the foundation, the trustees, and then for staff to finalize this. So all these changes that you guys are suggesting, I am perfectly all right with.
Okay,
I
good.
think that, because this is a tool that you have to use too. So as far as I'm concerned, these suggestions are your input to this document. And and representing the foundation, I can say they'd be fine with this.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and that
Julie-
was, the-
And
I
I
just want to make
provided
sure
them to
that the
Jeannie.
stakeholders had a
Yeah.
chance to
It's
review
just
this. and-
words, you can argue about words. Julie, on Palm Springs Public Library Foundation, I'm not sure where that sentence ends. The mission of the Palm Springs Public Library Foundation is to continue that legacy.
Yeah, I actually changed some of that. I said the foundation for the Palm Springs Public Library was formed in the fall of 2014. I struck that next sentence and I said, the mission of the foundation aims to support the Palm
That's right.
Springs Public Library and to increase and broaden its use as a cultural and education institution through financial support, securing its place in an essential community resource, and to continue that legacy.
Yeah,
So that's how I rewrote.
yeah, it just kind of went off
That's
into
from their
the
webpage.
side.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's, I didn't bring the right piece of paper with me, but there was another section where they were asking maybe we can combine a couple of tasks, like it was redundant or conflicting, and so I said sure. The other question was about the cost proposal on page, is that page 2? Oh, they all say page 2.
On the back.
Why do they all say page 2? I apologize.
Those are all
Page 2, too.
It's on the
Wow.
back of
2.5.
page 3 and
2.4.
under page 9.
Wow. The
And we're the
cost
library.
proposal in the next to the last page, it says cost proposal where it says not to exceed. They're not sure that we can actually say that in our,
Procurement.
yes, procurement's not sure that we can say that. They were curious if we could actually say a number, and I was concerned about saying a number because of course then everybody's gonna bump up against that number. So we'll see, but that question may come up because
What's your
people,
budget?
people doing proposals, they will say, what's your budget? And then we have to answer, and
I
Right,
sold to libraries all my life, and that was always the question we asked in selling is how much money do you have?
Of
So I
course.
think that question will come, and I think our answer is that our budget is a certain amount. I mean, you have to share what you have to share.
Yeah.
But if you give them a number, I can promise you that
It will be that number.
magically, the
Yeah.
proposal's gonna meet that number.
right.
They always are.
So we
there-
would like to
that's-
not
That's
say
what
that.
we said in our subcommittee, that we're hoping that reasonably it can be done for the amount we said, and if not, we have to have dialogue about why, and so that company may offer us the best deal for $5,000 more, or whatever, so.
Now, let's go back to the not to exceed.
Right.
And what is most commonly, and you might want to take this back to procurement. This could be reworded to say not to exceed in total cost. Because what that really means is, because consultants will commonly give you, here's our price plus our expenses. And so added together, you don't want it to exceed a certain amount. Because we'd hate for someone to come along and say, we'll do it for this amount, and all of a sudden we get a bill for more than that because they didn't include their cost.
Well, our process demands that they give us their bottom line, including everything, and they are to stick to that number.
So that's why that not
So-
to exceed means that, to make sure that they don't
Right.
give you one
Well,
number that
yeah.
it really is two numbers added together, if
Plus,
that makes
plus.
it.
That
Right.
paragraph does identify those pieces that we're talking about, direct or indirect, the cost for each staff member, blah, blah, housing, daily rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, what did you say, identify the total inclusive cost?
Well,
What was the
they
word
don't,
you
if they don't
just
like the
said?
words not to exceed, which I understand, they could
Yeah.
say that the price should identify all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And they might want to say something in there that the final proposal call, I'm not putting words in their mouth, they know more than I do, but they might say that,
they're very
you know,
good at
the
this.
package must include all these things added together in the final cost
And the
proposal.
final, yeah, we don't want to hear, I need another 23,000 for dinner at,
I think it does it, the last sentence of that paragraph.
And their contracts, the proposal process does have the sheet, and
yeah.
they're very specific on, you need to lay it all out so that we can compare apples to apples.
Uh-huh.
Because you can't have hidden costs or plus plus.
Well, I will tell you that in
that
probably
helps us in
three
the
of
process.
the documents that I used from other communities, they actually formatted the cost proposal. So they actually said, your proposal, because a lot of governments will do that.
And ours does,
It
I
has
believe.
to look like this when we get back to, so
Mm-hmm.
fill this format with all of your costs, give us all the other information you want, brochures, whatever. But when you give us a proposal or a bid, it has to look like this.
It's a done
Right, so
deal.
is that what we have to do too?
That's usually what I've seen.
It's always
So,
consistent,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense.
So that you can
But
equally
isn't that
compare them.
better than
Oh, yeah.
the processes we've had where we look at each other?
And I'm hopeful that it won't cost the amount that's on our budget, because we should be able to get a really good idea of what we're doing. I'm thinking the Chevy plan and not the Cadillac
Well,
plan.
no, I think what will happen, and this is for staff to answer, is they may come back and say, do you want us to update an existing plan, or do you want us to create a new plan? Because if they can use anything that we've done already, that's probably gonna save, that makes sense, they'll save some costs. So you should be thinking about, is there something in the old plan you'd want them to update or not touch at all?
We have a lot that's just out of date, but there are several things that still work
May
today.
still work.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you are talking about this and when the work begins to look what the library needs, what we wish, what we dream for, are we looking beyond the main library on Sunrise? Or is that what our dream is in this strategic plan?
I say yes. I say that that's part of the strategy, is
Yeah.
that we think outside of our current location and plan for the future.
So I
Okay.
was in a session, and I'll talk about this in a moment, I was in a session in
I hope y'all
ALA
agree.
about strategic plans. So the current trend is not to call it a strategic plan, but call it a strategic direction. Because it leaves it a little more open-ended, and it also,
That's wonderful.
anything over 3 years is suspect in most cases because of just how things are changing so quickly. Now, I don't know if that's the case for us, but I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, is that it's a direction, because plan makes it sound so close-ended,
Yes.
and it's a living, breathing document that we will change from time to time. But.
Because a plan is, it really does work out to be a checklist.
And
you
that's,
just sit
so
there
I
and you
think
go,
you guys have to
"Yes,
think
we're
about
stuck
that.
doing
You know,
this."
as staff, would you rather have a direction that allows us to have it, especially if we go into a building program, it's gonna live and breathe, right? And, so, yeah, I think that it's gonna be probably beyond a campaign.
Well,
Yeah.
I did add a line in the scope of work that said, So we had, the plan will include goals, measurable objectives, and proposed activities to meet community needs for the next 3 to 5 years. And I added to the end of that, and to establish a framework for future library services.
Were you in that session with me?
No, but I've done this a few times.
Mental
So,
telepathy.
for that very point.
Read that again, Julie, please.
I added, and to establish a framework for future library services.
Yeah.
And that's to your point, Linda, of
A
what you're trying
framework.
to get to.
Yeah, because I think if, as we head off into subcommittees to do this work, I don't want to be thinking about the main library. We're going to live there for a while, and we have to work there. But I want my thinking to be, what are my dreams for, 15 years from now?
I don't expect it to be that. I expect it to focus on the programs
Yes.
that we need as a community, and then building comes later. As a matter of fact, building may not even come up, because once we have this framework, then when we're asked to plan a building, if we identify in the strategic plan that we want to have an outstanding computer science program for teens, we'll have to build a room for that in a new building or a current building, right? So a lot of the programs are defined, and then we go off, and that's how I've done it.
Our
so.
own theater
Right.
for Palm Springs Speaks, and
Right, when we did focus groups before, that was kind of how it went. It was like, what are the priorities important to the community? So then the community came in and said, it's the, arts, it's the community, gathering place, it's the this, and that. And then from there, they prioritize them. And then it was like, okay, then what does that mean our building needs to look like? What does that mean our services need
Yeah.
to look like?
Absolutely.
And so on and so on. So that's what we've done.
I love
in the
that.
past.
when
I
you're
love that.
doing this work for my own information, do you look at what services are being provided in the city by other institutions? Like, what is the museum doing that we don't want to replicate, or we do want to expand or work with them? Is that part of the consideration in programming too, Julie?
I was gonna say it can be.
Can be.
It can be whatever we want it to
But
be.
you start getting more into the scope like that, and that's when that price tag. But you
Goes
definitely could add or expect that from the end product and
Yeah.
see what comes back.
In the past, when we had different focus groups, we brought in community leaders and we invited all those potential partners, because they are and indeed could be partnerships. And so we invited people from all of those different institutions here to come in and say, what does this look like, so that we weren't necessarily replicating,
Yes.
overlapping, and maybe forming ideas that ways we could partner, depending on what came out. So I think that's important to do if you go down the focus group way, is to invite all of those people to be at the table and be part of the conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Agreed. I mean, but the fact that we were talking about staff, trustees, foundation, and friends, right there is a big group of people, and then it should spin around to the other cultural institutions in the city. So a good consultant's going to do their homework and see what other organizations have done,
Yeah.
I would
And we
hope.
also would love to find out about the people who don't come to the library.
Absolutely.
Because all of those groups that you mentioned, devoted, come to the library, we might have our blinders on, and we need to think about what else is
Yeah.
going on in our community and what could we do that could bring people in.
Yeah, all good things.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. Let's get started.
Yeah, that's an
We're making
interesting
progress.
I know, all right, thank you.
idea, because you do a lot of money in brochures and pamphlets, and they're all over the place. And it is interesting who uses the library, and young parents and schools. I'd love to see the district do much more with you in terms of the library and their kids. That's their libraries are great, but they're not like the public library to come for a lecture with Jim Cornette, say. What a great extension from science middle school classes here, and to bring kids into this experience. I think that's just really unbelievable. But if we, in that, and that's enough said, we don't want to compete in space with somebody who's doing similar thing. What we offer, either they have a bigger audience and they can use our space too, or we offer something really different, and that's interesting. And I think we do that at the library, thanks to you, Julie. your wonderful,
I would be real surprised if we
Statement.
don't get something in the plan that speaks to the networking of other cultural institutions, considering where we're going. So I think that we'll get that. Now, will they tell us how? Probably not. But that they'll ask us to, and then we'll have to decide how we're gonna go about doing that. And that, by the way, could be it could be some of these other groups helping us do that too. For example, the Friends of the Library in their partnership with the Cultural Center for Palm Springs, right there's a partnership that we can leverage as well, right, just by extension. So some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
things, and of course, the foundation's working on a lot of different things too. So by extension, we might find some of these institutions coming to the table.
Well, and what we did find previously, when we had done different focus groups and different things in the past, is that groups did want to partnership with us, but we didn't have either the facility or the staff or the services in order to do those particular things that they wanted to do, and that came out of something like this. So it showed us our opportunities. Whether we could do anything about it or not, that was a different matter, but.
It's all part of that direction.
yeah, I'd like to see more effort with the tribe also, even though they're on their way to building and
And we do
Our
partner with them,
economies.
and we're participating in a program called My Brother's Keeper,
Yes.
which is a directive from the White House, and I have participated with them in that. So we do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we can't forget they're about to build a huge cultural center just down the street, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's gonna be one of those institutions that's gonna be right in our face. So I think we have to want to do some
So
cooperation.
My Brother's Keeper is an effort that the tribe is focusing on to help young adults who are recent high school graduates going into college, to help them succeed in college. So they might start college, and then there are a lot that don't finish, and so
Right.
they're trying to through our focus groups and working that we did a couple of years ago, they determined that that was really their goal, because there are a lot of different it was a total strategic plan process, and the project decided that that was the avenue that they wanted to do. So they've done some job fairs and career fairs and
only for
lots of different things.
Indian children or open to all people?
I
You know, a
believe it's,
transition program like
I
that?
believe it's open to all.
To
I
all
could be
kids.
mistaken, but
Yeah,
it's
but they're
that was
sponsoring it and
Yes.
the supporters of
just
that.
our community, our Coachella Valley, the graduation rate. We don't. It's really tough here because the 4-year universities most of them are far away. You know, and it's just a tricky situation. And so COD's in partnership with this, and the library, and their schools. So they've brought in a lot of community organizations. So it's a great thing. So there are so many different partnerships that we currently do, and that could be better or bigger.
Yeah, well, that gets into Cal State too, because
lot.
I know there's real conversation there about why the school is not offering far more opportunities for our kids in the lower valley. And hopefully it will be. Okay, that's a great idea to do a strategic direction. Can we just refer to that from now on?
I
as
wrote that down.
So
Okay.
do you need us to vote on these changes?
No,
or-
this was really just, sorry, it wasn't actually, it's not even a voting item, but it was just, it's under that category. But it was really just for you guys to weigh in
Discussion.
It's great.
and give some feedback on the.
Jeannie,
on
talk
the
quick,
words.
not quickly, as long as it takes you. What's the direction after this point?
So then we revise the text, meet again with procurement. They will finalize an actual request for proposals and open it up to the public. And then it will have a certain period of time that organizations have to apply. And then a small group of people, I believe, well, that's one thing you all need to decide who from the board, one person from the board can participate in this process. We didn't decide already, did we? But, so library staff, a member from the board, and we will review the proposals,
Mhm.
give them scores, open the costs, and then
Make a selection.
essentially decide who to recommend city council to award it to. And then I would bring back the costs to you, and then you would vote to approve the funding. And then it would probably go to city council for approval. And so it's going to be several
I'm happy
months.
to
but-
do it. Whoever
you
does
should.
Ed
it.
should do it.
Yeah.
I was
Some,
gonna say-
that
You
is
know what
something we
you're
should do.
doing.
We should make a motion for
Okay, I
someone to
move
be a
that
representative.
Ed McBride is represented to the proposal screening committee with city staff and library staff.
And I second. Is that okay?
Aren't you glad you
Yeah.
came? And you're in the middle.
All
of
in
it.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ed, did you vote?
Yeah.
I'm just teasing.
You do what you do best, Ed, on this group.
Well, I was gonna say, I think we have to, we can't forget that the Friends and the Foundation are at the table too, so that, I will work to represent them in that process.
Oh, good.
And report
Good.
back to them on how it's going, because they've all asked.
Do you
what's
want a
going on.
Friends rep, or is that too many?
I think only want one, right?
Oh, you're gonna
think-
have one.
I think there is a limit on the number of people.
Hi, how are you?
Looking for the Public Arts Commission's meeting.
Not today.
There's a sign, I think, right outside there somewhere that tells you where that meeting is held. I think I saw it. Uh-huh.
I think they meet before us.
Or it's over
Anyway,
here
yeah,
somewhere.
okay, good job
Okay.
on this.
Great.
And so would you say, maybe by June, we'll have more conversation?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'll
Hopefully,
keep you
yes.
posted. I'll keep you
Hey.
posted on the
Hey.
process. I'll let you know when it's live.
This is great.
Oh, come on. I'm
I'll
being
definitely-
realistic, right, Julie? You little optimist, you.
I'll definitely let you know when the RFPs are live.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Julie's going to rewrite this, or somebody's going to edit this?
She already
or-
gave her
I
feedback.
gave my comments to Jeannie.
Great.
Yeah, great.
And we'll get another fresh copy next.
Several firms
Well,
are
you'll
circling.
probably get the live
Really? Already?
version whenever it
That's wonderful.
goes live.
Okay,
At ALA, I was
Yeah.
asked by several consultants when we're going out to bid, so
Okay.
there's some
that's great.
interest
And then
That's
Ed
encouraging.
will have to sign a
in disclosure
non-disclosure agreement so that he
or
is not,
non-compete.
yeah, something like that.
Conflict of interest, thank you.
You have to leave.
That's
it
why we
in.
have you here.
Did we decide before that he was going to
No,
do
we
it?
just talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, main library art sculpture, excuse me.
I'm going to ask if Julie has any updates, because I don't.
Although I've requested a few times now, we have not received any update or any progress or any thing has been submitted to us for consideration.
I did see the art
frustrating.
piece. I
Do you
was-
have to go through the art person? What is the title?
The public arts, what's our coordinator?
Coordinator. So all of our communication about that needs to go through that process, am I correct?
Basically, just, you can talk to us and then we'll coordinate.
No, that's what I mean,
Yes.
whoever from the, okay. And so we're waiting for a master craftsman.
So, yeah, the last communication we received that we reported at your last meeting was that there was going to be a local vendor that had already met the insurance requirements to come in, look at the piece, and give a evaluation and a possible estimate for repair. And that was to happen in that next week. I do not know if that's happened, but I've asked a few times. I've received no response, and I have not received any evaluation or any bid or,
The question I
repair.
would continue to ask is who's going to be responsible to pay for that?
It will depend on the cost, honestly. Because the Friends donated it to the city owns it. It may be our responsibility. It may not cost as much as you're fearing, so we don't know. But we will find out, and then we will decide in-house which direction we go with this. If we just take it out of our budget, we may. We'll
I don't
just see.
think it should be a great cost, because the sculpture itself is not damaged.
No, the
and-
thing I've seen, it's
It's intact, it's the base.
Yeah, and the base is just tile work.
The base was wood with tile around it. And the discussion I had with her was they would rebuild it on wood. And my conversation with her is, why would you do that when it's outside in water and concrete? Put it on, bolt it down, and if you want it pretty, put tiles around it. But,
Right.
there's always somebody that tells me why that's impossible. But I think it would support the weight better. That's not tremendously heavy, but that's probably part of why the wood, after 50 years, went south on us.
Yeah, we'll let a professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Tell
you,
us
Julie,
about
for
this.
following through with her.
I guess,
Yeah?
just to remind that we just passed a process that if, should this come before us, then it would come with a justification asking for the money from the trust fund, and it'll follow our new process, right?
Good idea. Great.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, library board bylaws.
No report.
No report?
No,
We're working.
okay.
They're busy at
Well,
City Hall
Jeannie
right
might
now.
know something.
Oh.
Have you
No,
heard
I
anything?
just know that the city attorney is still reviewing them and looking for discrepancies that might conflict with each other within the bylaws or with our city's code or the education code. So they're still
Okay.
reviewing it. Sorry, no report.
Wellwood patio.
And at this point, there's really no update either on that one.
Has the landscape historian done their report yet? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't think so. And in fact, I haven't even, I apologize, I have not put the extra money into the Wellwood patio account, although there still are funds available. So it wouldn't be a problem with billing, but I don't know where we are. I know that, I believe that they did go take this information to HSPB, that they were going to use the historian.
Have they picked one yet?
It's that
did?
gentleman.
Yeah,
that-
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that-
right.
That's
Okay.
just that one guy,
But-
Stephen Kalon.
Their meeting is at 9:00 in the morning. Am I correct? Historical Sites Preservation
It's
Board?
early.
It's 9:00. We have a member who works in Ron. I don't know if Ron's able to be there, but I certainly think somebody from the subcommittee. You're there, Jeannie, if you can possibly get away, right?
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah. I mean,
gone to the last one.
it wasn't on their agenda because I was looking, thinking I would go sit in the audience and see what's going on. And I thought 9:00, ooh, I'm not that much crazy about it. But I think for our members, it's a little bit difficult when you're all working and you're on that committee. But it's important we know what they're doing there.
Right.
And we, refresh my memory, we said we would pay $350 so that the Historical Sites Board can check us off as being vintage appropriate,
Right.
and no more than that.
They would have to come to us for approval if they were going to change the plans in any way based
Yes.
on his report.
So phase one is $325, and that's for him to do an assessment and
Right.
recommendation report.
He's going to do research and something else.
And then, speaking of the research, Linda had
Yeah.
given us historical information that she found out.
That's all there
Wellwood.
is. That
Yeah.
is
I believe what,
absolutely all there is.
and I believe what he would do
Pictorially.
is he's going to reach out to the Department of Interior for landscaping history of the era, not specifically the
At the
actual
library.
Wellwoods
And-
landscaping. It would be
Yeah.
1940s landscaping for a
Yeah.
desert area, I would guess.
I had that conversation with Mr. Morton at the Cacti Garden, because I was at a wedding there, and I just said, can you remember? And he was born a little bit, he was awfully young at that time, but we were talking at that time, oleander and pyracantha were really the plants that were decorated in the community. Everywhere there was oleander. And Will Kleindienst believes that there is a magnolia tree in the back, and I can remember a tree, I'm not sure if it was a magnolia, and the pits around were just concrete, if you see that. And at one time, it was a false front for a film to make a movie, so they put window fronts over the windows to make it look like a jewelry shop. And then it had big pots of plants in the front. Well, those were all staged. That's not part of the original landscaping there. So I think it was hodgepodge because of the gardens next door.
On the budget at the time, I mean, they didn't even have the full lighting plan, and then they took out the air conditioning because they didn't have the budget
Yeah,
to put in air conditioning in 1941. So
yeah.
historically accurate, Wellwood would not have air conditioning today
Yeah, and
if you were
That's what I thought
strictly
they're,
accurate.
they're shooting for, is to make all of these projects historically correct. And I don't
It's
think
not feasible.
it's the wrong
Doesn't
era.
make
We're
sense.
into ficus trees, and they weren't around at that time. So it will be, like we said, we have something to learn from it. So I'm interested.
Okay, are we ready to move on to committee reports? Okay, report from Advocacy Committee. I don't think there's anything to report. Yeah, there's nothing to report. Sorry, everybody. Budget Committee,
Reported?
We have reported.
basically.
Can I'm talking a lot today, but advocacy,
You're only 3 people, so.
yeah, I would like to be really serious when Jeannie goes to city council or there's any issue whatsoever, that we can get a foot in the door and have an opportunity to support. If you can't go, call one of the rest of us or a friend or somebody,
Okay.
just to be there. They know we're there. They'll cane you off if you don't.
You get 2 minutes.
I
That
thought it
has
was
changed.
3.
Yeah, it changed, and now you get 2
crap.
minutes.
But that's just a suggestion.
yeah.
We cannot miss an opportunity anymore to praise the library, talk about what we need, and so call anybody and everybody.
Okay.
We'll look and see who's going and who's going to be there to support Jeannie and our
Jeannie, do you
staff.
think you can send out like maybe some talking points that you recommend?
Oh, sure.
Just so I don't
One thing
like,
that
get up there and freeze.
No, that's okay. One thing that I did put in your packet,
this is
speaking of
great.
a talking point, is
That's
our
great.
infographic.
Yes.
Very excited about this. I made this. And it is a comparison of the library from a decade ago. So 2007, economic downturn. So when the times were good, here are your numbers. And then 2017, I wanted to do a 10-year comparison. So our staffing in those 10 years has decreased by 39%. Our local funding has decreased by 8%. However, the number of library visits has increased 12%, and our circulation has increased 22%. And so if you think of that stretch, we're doing more with less.
Yeah.
And so that's our message. We're doing more with, we're still doing a great job. We've got wonderful things happening, but we are just really lean, mean,
That's
working machine.
the wonderful comments that Michael Hirsch
Yeah,
did
he made a great
when we were at the
report.
open forum, and I didn't know he
yes.
was speaking. I thought it was wonderful, wonderful surprise, and he spoke about that gap in what's expected and who's doing the work. So that's a good question, actually.
And yeah, that talking points and just your tell your story, talk about how the library is meaningful to you. Anything that you can mention in that way. Our statistics are always impressive when you say, in 2017 we checked out 431,000 items.
Yeah.
We own 100,000 items, and so that turnover is a really positive number when
Yeah.
you think about. I mean, of course, not everything gets used that way, but 4 times a year, some things get used 24 times a year.
Right.
I just have two.
No, I will come after you.
No, I just have 2 things. If there's any way that staff could just send out a notice to us when you know we're on an agenda in city council, because I definitely want to be in the audience to offer support. Second of all, I have to say I personally cringe when I hear we're doing more with less, because I'd rather like that comment if we say we're doing more with less. Just imagine what we could do with more. Because
That sounds
that's
much better.
the point, is that we're serving a lot of people and we're stretched. Just imagine the people we could touch if we had more money and more resources. Because if they hear we're doing more with less, that just means that
You can do
you don't
more.
need any more,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I think we need to, that's where I think you guys need to massage that message so that, we could say, just imagine if we had more money, how many more people we could serve in the computer program, or how many more children we could serve, or, our relation. I think we need to cut some bullet points on your dreams if we had more money,
That
so that we
should-
can say that as citizens.
That's
that should
great.
Be the
That should be our
heading on all
strategic
your
direction.
Yeah.
Library
yeah.
agenda meeting notices. Just put that little banner on the top. You can do, and just a comment. Miss Middleton did attend the Friends meeting,
It's on my list.
and what she said was, come to City Council in one voice. Be direct with one voice. Don't. And I think we understand what that means, and so that's a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard, be positive.
Oh,
Of course,
Okay.
of course.
I'm not suggesting be negative
No,
or attack.
this
I'm
is
just
a really
saying,
positive message.
Yeah.
Just
we
imagine
dream
what
of
we
the
could
day
do
we
with it.
have more money that we can do blank, and I want to know what that is for
Yeah,
you
right,
guys.
yeah.
I have my own idea, but I don't want to seem self-serving from a citizen's point of view. I want it to be, our community would love to have this if we had more money. That sort of thing gets them excited, right?
I love that.
You want to say it one more time, Mr. McBride?
Say what?
Your theme?
More with less.
We're doing a lot with less, but just imagine how much more we could do with more resources. I mean, it's more people we could touch. It's impressive as it is, but just how much more impressive it could be. That's where I think we get into, I've heard the mayor be very proud, and I agree with him on the reaction now with free Thursday nights at the museum and how many more people are
Yeah.
coming in there. I'm not saying that's our example, but I think the message being for me when I heard him say that is that the more resources we provide the citizens, the more they're going to take advantage of it. So let's talk about, you know, how we could do that, right? That's great.
Free Thursday night at library.
It's free.
It's free every day.
That's a good idea. Hey, in addition to the museum, we're free on Thursday nights too at the library. I like that.
What did you say
4 to
last
6.
year?
We're free too.
Make it your last stop on the way home.
Yeah, I like
Remember,
that.
she
And also,
said
we're
that
free on
too.
Wednesday nights too. Tuesday
It's
nights.
cool. You know, if they hear that constantly, I just read an op-ed and he repeated a line. He made comments
Is
and he
he-
repeated a line.
You move?
No, in the New York Times.
Oh.
And he made a comment and he repeated the line. He made a comment and repeated the line. It was very, very effective. It's kind of power speaking. That those kinds of comments that keep coming in and they keep hearing that sort of message after you say what you say and you blah, 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 and then you say some more and say some more. It's an effective way to present stuff. Those are good little, I hope you send those out to us, those little pieces you just
Yeah.
created here.
Well, and I think you're right that we definitely need to be showing up to
Absolutely.
city council because the squeaky
Absolutely.
wheel gets the grease.
Especially
Yeah,
when they all like us right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And they know you're there, I guarantee you that.
They do
Right.
know we're there.
Whether you say anything or you just sit in support of our librarian.
And I think we have to remember, we are citizens, even though we're on this, we're trustees, we are citizens representing the community. That's even a better voice to say we represent. Because they want to hear
Yeah.
that. But yeah, advocacy, advocacy, advocacy.
Okay.
And we have two great subcommittee members, I think. They're articulate and bright and
Buzzing through this.
interested in the library.
Madam Chair, you're getting us through this
All
agenda.
right. Report from Buildings Committee.
No report.
No report.
We're not looking at architectural designs today, as you will see. And we have chosen not to be engaged in that process at this time.
Okay.
Although, to live in the library, somebody's going to have to at some point address the problems that are here.
And our
Right.
scope has changed at
Yes.
this
Right.
point. I think our scope has changed, so our whole project has changed.
Right.
Those proposals really don't apply.
Okay. Okay, Policies Bylaws Committee.
Paul's already done on that one, right?
We're done.
Yep.
And one thing I want to say is at some point, we will bring you some policy changes, but we like to do it all at once. So we'll gather our stuff this summer and, you know, bring you all the changes at one time, and that way it's easier for you, and it's easier for us to find them when we can go back and look and see when they changed.
Literacy Committee.
Oh, well, you're literacy, but
Right.
I can give a little update
Yeah.
if you want.
Go for it.
Our very own library operations manager, Lisa Brock, applied for and received a matching grant from the California State Library for to fund a career online high school program.
Wonderful.
So our friends at the library stepped up and said that they wanted to do this project and fund it, and a grant opportunity came from the state library. So we are going to start with 10 scholarships, so 5 from the Friends and 5 from the state. And we're hoping that Lisa's going to do a lot of training, and we'll kick this off and do a big launch. And then we will be looking for students who are adults, 19 years and up, who are looking for their high school diploma, and we are going to pay for it. And it's a diploma program where it's not a GED, it's a full high school accredited high school diploma, and there's a career track that goes along with it, so you can choose what career path you want, and then you will have some sort of career certificate, which is great for job searching or transitioning into college. And this is a wonderful program.
Wonderful.
What kind of students are you looking for, Lisa?
People who have not graduated from high school.
When we met with the school district last year, that was one of the needs that they saw in their parents. So hopefully we can even get some of the parents
So
interested in
whoever
that.
first
That's a
come,
great
first
idea.
serve, or you're looking at low-income kids, or, I mean, that can be a spectrum of a lot of people with a
Well,
high school
what
diploma.
we will learn about this process, but what happens is there are some prerequisites that the
Yeah.
students have to do, and they have to apply.
Okay,
And then we have to, they do an assessment, we review their applications, do interviews, and then we pick the students.
so there's a
who we-
process. Yeah,
And
wonderful.
we're gonna look for students who we really believe have a shot at success.
Yeah,
We don't wanna waste the money, and
No.
so they have to prove that they really want this and can complete the program.
and it's all online? How much time, say, in a week would a student have to, do they do it at their own pace, or does it go like a quarter system, or?
They do it at their own pace, and you can
Okay.
jump
I
in.
don't know. It is at
It is at their own pace, but there is a kind of
There's
a
a
time
deadline.
limit. There's
Yeah.
a time limit.
Okay.
And they will be assigned to a counselor, and their counselor will check up on them and say, hey, you haven't done any homework in a couple of weeks, what's going on? And
Uh-huh.
kind of keep track of them. And we will help this process too, as far as, we'll do whatever we can to make this successful and try to support them, maybe do some social activities where the students who are in this program together can meet.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
get to know each other, or kind of share experiences, or are you having trouble with this, are you doing okay in this, and then we want to have graduation ceremonies with the
Yeah.
caps and gowns, and
wonderful.
invite
You could have
dignitaries
study
and
tables
family.
at the library with volunteers, like the literacy program, but only work with the students.
Yeah. So
at
we'll see,
study
we
table.
we just got the
That's
notice that we
exciting.
won the award, and I think we're only one of 5 libraries in the state that won it this round. And so we're excited, but it's a lot of training, 4 weeks at least of
Oh,
training
wow.
that
Do you
Lisa
know-
gets to do.
Maybe you'll
Julie
put a
gets to do one.
distinguished school sign out there.
Oh, yes, yeah, we'll be a distinguished school.
Do you know when this will all start?
No,
Oh.
we're not sure,
It's supposed to launch April.
In
Oh, okay.
April, wow.
oh, we are.
Oh, that's really soon.
That's what they want you to launch in.
Wow.
Like-
In April?
Yes.
Yeah.
To start getting students, they want you
To
to
do
launch.
the prerequisites and all that, the PR.
Have you thought about reaching out to businesses and community members to
We'll see,
sponsor?
we'll see. One of the groups that I already have reached out to, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's a parent support group at Palm Springs Unified School District.
Oh, that's
I
great.
can't think of what it was called. But they do a lot of work to help their parents, and
Great.
one downside is that this program is English only.
Mm.
And so for us, I think that a Spanish component would be a really great thing, but it is English only. So we'll be that'll be one thing for people to consider.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's too bad.
but we're very excited.
Yay.
I
I love
think
it.
so.
And I know our friends have committed even more funding, but we were like, we need to just start with 10.
Right.
Yeah, very
We-
good.
Lisa's scared. She wanted to do 6, and I said, let's do 10. So we'll see. It should be
Okay.
fun.
Report from Main Library Remodel Ad Hoc Committee. Anything?
I believe we got rid of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
whoops.
say
I
that one
apologize.
should come
Yeah,
under
it's gone.
buildings report.
Oh, yeah.
H as well.
Oh.
Not 10H.
I agree.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
did a copy and paste. Lucky you got page
Uh-oh.
numbers on there.
Yeah,
Those are
that comes
accurate, I
out.
think.
Okay, and we
Sorry.
already talked about the strategic planning,
We sure
right?
did.
And Wellwood.
We sure did.
So, okay.
And we just, as you all requested, we just keep the committees on there, and
Please.
you can
Yeah.
easily just say no report, no report, no
Please,
report.
love it.
Do you like this format?
Yeah. Do you?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
do.
it's great.
We don't forget anything.
Right.
Well, and it, yeah.
And it
That's
did give
it.
you some chances to brainstorm some ideas
Yeah.
and talk
Yes,
about advocacy.
absolutely.
Report from staff representative.
Okay. Well, as you saw the infographic, we are going to probably make this into a rack card that can be passed out, given to people, put around town. We won't have that many, but excited about that. The library, we currently have a Martin Luther King Jr. Student art exhibit, and it's at the library on display now through February 28th. And then in March, we will have a Cesar Chavez student art exhibit starting March 21st, going through April 12th. And even right before that, there will be an actual awards ceremony at the library. It's all on our website, palmspringslibrary.org, under our events. We will be kicking off our In-N-Out Burger reading program. We do this program every year. It's fun for kids. It's March 3rd through April 14th. Kids ages 4 through 12 can read books to receive certificates for free burgers. So for every 5 books they read, they get a certificate for a free burger. And they can win up to 3 certificates. It's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it, and I have heard stories where the kids will come in and a group of kids, they'll read for the whole family so they can take their parents to dinner. It's so cute. They sit in the kids' room and read their picture books and get their certificates, and then they all go to dinner. It's a lot of fun. We don't have the information, we don't have the actual documentation for this yet, but we are also going to be doing a reading program with the movie Sherlock Gnomes, which is another thing coming up. And so there will be a Sherlock Gnomes reading program through mid-March. More details will be available when we get them.
Is that for little kids, I'm assuming? Yeah.
Yeah, probably the same age group.
Okay.
They read so many books. Oh, what they do is I believe they read so many books, and then they get an entry ticket to win a movie premiere for a movie screening for them and 100 of their friends.
100.
Yes,
Oh my God.
up to 100 people can go to their. So they're going to enter to win the film screening, and the library whose kid wins gets $2,000, which is why we're doing it.
That's
Let's
awesome.
be real. We want the money.
Support reading, but
So
we're
support.
supporting reading.
We're supporting reading, and
Supporting
the kids
our-
can support us by entering to win. We might have a
Right.
chance to win $2,000.
Great.
You get to take 100 people
Yes,
to the movie?
to LA. Yeah,
Oh.
I believe that's where it is. It's a
a lot
you get
of
a film
people.
screening. I know.
Get your child
You
in
get the whole
here.
theater probably. You get
We
the
can
whole
all
theater.
go.
We'll see how that works, but
Yeah, that'd be cool.
the incentive for us is if one of the kids from our library wins, we get
Mm-hmm.
$2,000.
Awesome.
We will take it. We also will be doing the mid-century modern building models from St. Teresa's. So St. Teresa's students are going to bring their student models. They're so adorable. And they'll be arriving this Friday. So come take a look. We still have the modernism photography exhibit up right now. It's Wexler, correct? Donald Wexler. Really nice. Every year, the ModCom group brings an exhibit, and it's free. It's a nice way to come see the library, come see this exhibit, learn about a different architect every year. Our children's programs on February 28th, we are doing a little Disney program. Dress up, play games, have a good time. 28th, 6 o'clock. Everybody will be dressed up like Frozen and their little princesses, and
Mickey Mouse.
maybe not. Star Wars. Star Wars is Disney now, so
True.
dress up, have a good time. The library's decorated, and I don't know if you've heard in Disneyland, they have the hidden Mickeys where you can go around and find the Mickey Mouse shapes. Well, they're not hidden at the library. They're everywhere. Everywhere. So you can come play a hidden Mickey game.
Cute.
Our 5th annual Family Fun Fest will be March 28th from 10 to noon. This is the first Wednesday of spring break for Palm Springs Unified School District. Our theme is Reading Takes You Everywhere, which is like a travel theme. It's the same theme as our summer reading program. A lot of fun. We've got a lot of organizations who will be coming out. So it's like a family fair, fun. It's a fun fest.
It is fun.
And we are in search of croquet kits. I have
I
one.
saw your email.
Yeah, I don't
I'm looking
have
for
one.
I'm looking for
I looked at
anybody who
YouTube.
I'm putting it out on the television. Anybody who might have a croquet set that they would like to loan to the library.
Right.
We usually do an obstacle course, but we have decided to do a croquet course, and have a good time. So something for the
You
kids
have
to
to
do.
have the real deal mallets, or is there any other way to bat balls around?
Well, I'm not sure.
Are you gonna do wiffle balls?
No, we're
What are
gonna
you gonna
do
do?
the croquet balls.
Wooden balls, they don't fly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, we'll work on that. Lisa's in charge.
Off with their head.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a good time. So we get creative at the library. We have a good time and make it fun for kids. Our teens are planning the Palm Springs Public Library Comic-Con, an officially licensed Comic-Con of the San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow.
We are officially licensed. This event will be an all-day event, Saturday, May 19th, almost all day, 10 to 4. Long day. So I know it's far in advance, but we are working on this event. It's going to be a fun time. Already working on it. For our adult programs, we have March 7th, a nature lecture, which is Living with Desert Wildlife. So Joshua Tree Institute is going to come and talk about animals, right?
From the Living Desert, from the Wildlife Keeper from the Living Desert.
Oh, I thought she was from Joshua Tree. She's
Well,
from the.
Is
She's
she
from the
bringing
the
an
Living
animal
Desert.
with her?
I do not know.
Do not know.
Just you, wild animal. So she's from the Living Desert. So
Very cool.
interesting lecture. We also have one on March 13th. Steve Brown, who you might recognize from, he does a lot about Route 66. He did our Friends annual meeting one year.
Yeah.
He's going to come and give a lecture on mysteries of the Mojave Desert and talk. Oh, is that Wellwood? I didn't even look.
That's what.
At the Wellwood, in the evening, what time?
Daytime,
Daytime.
Tuesday, 10:30.
Oh, he's interesting.
Awesome. So, great. Oh, before that, I should have mentioned this event. Yes, I got him out of order. Author Victor Yates will be at the library February 28th. He is the 2016 Lambda Literary Award winner for LGBT debut fiction. His book is called A Love Like Blood, and we're very excited to have him come to the library. Anything that you want to add about him?
I wasn't prepared.
I don't know. It's great. He's great. He's a
Yeah.
poet.
Yeah.
He's an author. He's won several awards.
Thank
He won an ALA, some other ALA award
Yes.
for his poetry.
Multiple awards, yeah.
So this is, a great opportunity to see a great author. And then in March 21st, Wade Rouse will be here, and he writes as Viola Shipman, and his book, The Recipe Box, will be coming out, and he's a great writer, and we're very excited. He's going to actually do a program. Yay! So one of our friends, and he does a great job. Great speaker, great author. So those are our...
March 14th.
I don't know what that is. Tell me.
March 14th, we're also going to be having a program called Always a Woman, and that is with poet and author Carol Mann and watercolorist Lynn Santino. And they created this book called Always the Woman, and it's poetry and watercolor art. It's a very unique program. Then they're going to be presenting that on Wednesday, March 14th at 6:30 at the library as well.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so our friends of the library, they did the Palm Springs Speaks program. We had Deepak Chopra, sold out
Amazing.
the high school auditorium, almost 900 people. Wonderful program. I've never experienced 900 people meditating together. At the end, he did a guided meditation. It was magical, and it was
was.
so silent, and everybody at the end was very peaceful. It was a great time. He was a great speaker too. He knew what he was doing. He had the slides going. He was funny. Just it was
Never
a wonderful.
meditated till that night.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It
Yeah.
was wonderful.
It was good.
A lot of people had, and Jackie even said, she said, I'm not doing this. But when that man said everybody sit up and everybody sat up, I thought, there
Yeah.
are real disciples in this room.
If you do it for the first
They
time and do it
knew
with
what
Deepak
they were
Chopra,
doing.
wow.
That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Deepak.
But it wasn't it
Wasn't shabby.
interesting
It was
where
great.
your head
It was
went?
a great talk too. I expected it to be long. I thought, 90 minutes. This is going to be a long program.
Went fast.
And I was like, it's over? Okay. But I want to put out a thank you to Julie, our staff, our volunteers. We had a lot of volunteers that helped us get that program running, and they did a great job. We had a couple of little miniature hiccups, but wonderful. very well
agree.
organized. We got everybody checked in. Can you check in 900 people?
A lot of people.
Get them in. It was great. Now our next event is for Palm Springs Speaks is author Lisa Scottolini. She's a great speaker. She's a great writer. She writes a few different ways. She writes a mystery series, a legal thriller series. She writes standalone mysteries, always great plot twists. Awesome. And then she writes humorous nonfiction with her daughter. And so she does a weekly article in the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can find those on, she posts them on our website. A lot of fun. She'll be at the Camelot Theater, and her tickets start at $30. So, and she's donating a copy of her newest book, which comes out in April. So we're going to get the book early. It's the book After Anna, and I already read it. It's really good. So $30, $60, and $95. And the $95 includes a VIP meet and greet experience with a cocktail reception before the event. So palmspringspeaks.org. Check that out. You can also buy the tickets at the Camelot box office.
I would like to say too that our very own Jeannie Kays will be our moderator and Q&A host with Lisa
Wonderful.
Scottolini. So
Oh,
definitely
great.
come out and support Jeannie and the library.
All
Yeah.
right.
Not to put pressure.
For
on
that night, Jeannie?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, I'm hoping that she will do her regular talk, and then at the end I'll just ask her some questions. So if you have any questions, let me know.
It's like Mike Thompson told me afterwards that he was scared to death that first one we did. And I said, you were so good. I mean, it was just like a natural
You
conversation.
could have a talk show.
Yeah,
You
so
could
you'll do
have a
that.
talk
You'll be good.
So, we got approval by City Council.
I want to say one thing
Oh,
before
go
you-
ahead, go ahead.
So at ALA, when I was in all these meetings, I shared with them Palm Springs Speaks and the people that we'd had. Everyone was in envy. How did you do that? You know, because I wanted them to know that we had some pretty impressive people, because I'm always hearing what they have. And so you guys should know that there was a lot of envy at ALA that we were able to get those folks to come.
Julie's working on some names in her spare time.
I mean,
mean-
Al Gore
I mean,
and Deepak
the friends are
Chopra,
working,
there
yeah.
were two enough that people were envious, but when the others were mentioned, they were all going, wow, that's pretty impressive. So,
Yeah, we've been
Very fortunate.
very
What is our
fortunate.
theme? We do so much with little, but what we could
Imagine
do
if we
is
had
more.
more.
It is
I
magical.
don't know how you
Palm
even go
Springs
home.
Public
and
Library.
rest
It is
and be
magical.
quiet.
I like it.
It's phenomenal.
It's free on Thursday
Well-
nights.
So, City
Excuse
Council.
me, museum, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we love you too. City Council approved the purchase of our library chairs, and we talked about that last month. Well, I am working on another chair order, but this one is more just very, very economical. We are ordering 100 stacking banquet chairs for the rest of the tables, because the chairs that we ordered are comfortable seating. These will be study chairs at the tables. 100 chairs, less than $3,500. We're getting some bargains on these chairs. They are very basic.
So no funerals for the old chairs.
Oh, we need to have a chair funeral,
We're gonna have
a candlelight vigil at least.
I
so,
think you should
yes.
invite him.
I think
Yeah.
you should too.
Seriously.
Ask him to
He's
pay
in
for the
LA.
new
Throw it
ones.
out and see what you catch.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm gonna learn to see if you'll donate enough money to pay for the
I
new
think
folding
it
chairs.
would be wonderful.
So we're excited. So we're gonna have a whole bunch of new
No
chairs,
money for him.
and
Yeah, well-
we're dollar cost averaging on the chairs.
Yeah. You have to explain the characteristics of the furniture, the rubs and, you
Oh,
know,
yes.
the
Well,
weight. I
Some
think
of them we
that-
don't wanna talk about, but
That's
yeah, I got you.
hysterical.
The chairs that we were that are very expensive are built in America, custom built, hard, solid wood, where normal chairs might have joints. These are solid pieces, and so they're built for commercial grade applications. It is expensive,
Yeah, but
they're
they'll
built
be
to
here
last.
30
They have a
years.
10-year warranty.
Oh, 10 years. Well, they'll be here 10 years.
We'll be here 10 years. The
Hopefully
fabrics,
longer.
you
Maybe
know,
so.
we got vinyl, we got a
Cover,
lot of
cover with
vinyl.
towels, Julie.
We got a lot of vinyl.
Like at home.
10 years from now, we won't be sitting there, you know, we long retired.
Yeah.
Ed, would you get up and leave?
We'll have a new,
Yeah.
yeah, the
You've
library's
been here long
closing.
enough.
Okay, so just a couple more things. We will be doing some outreach. Nancy Valdivia and I, she's the children's librarian. So Nancy and I will be at the Desert Regional Medical Center's NICU reunion on March 3rd. So we'll go out and do a little story time for all the NICU babies, the preemies, And they have a reunion every year, and sometimes 18-year-olds show up.
Wow.
So they have kids of all ages come out. And
cool.
Special.
so we're going to do some outreach about the library. And then, like I said before, our friends will be having a booth at the 1 PS Neighborhood Picnic, March 24th. Any other things?
Wow.
We're just a little busy.
I think you should have about 3 more activities just to.
Well, you do a lot
cover-
with less. Just imagine how much more we could do with
more?
more money.
We need to have it.
And staff.
And staff.
Jeannie,
And staff.
Yeah.
I would really like to see one more couch in the children's room.
I asked the
Can you
friends,
do-
and they said no.
Really?
Well, they've got other priorities right now.
Okay,
so.
but I think one more would be,
Well, maybe you should put that on your agenda, and you
On
can.
your foundation, how about your foundation coughing that
how
up?
much is it, how much is a couch?
It's, well, 3,000.
That was in my head. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a
Eventually.
personal gift, Ed.
I understand that. I think you're very sweet.
Going to see my trust guy tomorrow.
Very sweet. The
But
best.
I
I'll put a
think
little
they are
plaque on
so
it.
nice, and
Donated
they're
by
not,
Linnefuter.
they're not big,
The
they're
Linnefuter
small. And I
You
think
too
need
can have
one-
your name on a chair.
Oh, no.
We'll put our name, water fountain, you want your name on a water fountain?
No, nowhere.
I'd like to get one of those bottle filler water fountains.
Maybe that.
Oh, that would
I
be
like
great.
those, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
That can come in the new library, it can be built into the wall, and purified water.
That's all
That'd
I
be
have to
perfect.
report. We should move on.
Okay. Report from Library Foundation Liaison.
So I'm serving in that capacity today. A few things from the Library Foundation. You should all know that we have a PR firm called Buzz Factory. You may have heard of them. And they are working with us on the website always. They're responsible for the website. But more importantly, we're working on a community outreach program called What Do Libraries Mean to You? That's not the right name. I just forgot it. I'm sorry. But
Something
it's
about what a library means to me, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote it up, and I'm very sorry. I will send you all, if you're interested. What we're looking for, first of all, in this first round, are community leaders, people like yourselves, who would answer a few questions about how libraries have mattered in your life and what they mean to you. And we would like to create an archive or a resource to supplement a campaign that we will launch pretty soon and we've got our first one, which I think is very exciting. I can't tell you who it is, but we've got someone who will start this off. So we're talking about a group of people that I think will surprise some, but at the same time we'll have community leaders take notice. And of course it's leading up to what will happen in the future with the Library Foundation. So I'll share that with you, but it's very exciting. So we've all been charged with going out and finding people to do it. So if you want to do it, let me know and you'll go towards my account. As you guys know, I've been recently appointed to represent this group as the second seat. Harry has also asked for a leave of absence on there, so the other trustee has stepped away for a little while, but we're continuing to work on board development and how the board comes together. At our last meeting, starting from this point forward, our city librarian, library director was there, and it was really great to have her there because she represented the program and brought us up to speed on so many things, and so the dialogue, and I hope you enjoyed it too. It was really great to have her there to just kind of keep everything library focused, which was great.
Jackie would have been there, but it was the same day as,
Yeah, so we got to work
Friends
on that
meeting.
so that Jackie
Yeah.
can be there.
Yeah.
She and I have talked about that, and because it's important for her to be represented. If not her, we've got to find another Friends liaison
Yeah.
that comes and represents. Just like Peter is now going to all the meetings as our
That's
representative.
great.
and I might have to do every other month. Go to Friends, then go to the Foundation if it's
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Got to figure that out because it's important we all stay together, and it probably shouldn't be too long. We'll do another joint meeting, I guess, for all of us, which I'm going to ask a question about that in a minute. But anyway, you should know, and I'm sorry I did not bring my phone in with me to give you an up to the moment, but today is the day that the judge is making the ruling on the College of the Desert eminent domain land just up the street. And so what you should know is that at this hearing today, It will be decided if the College of the Desert will receive the land, and it's a final decision. And then the next process is that there will be a hearing of some kind that will determine, if they get it, how much it will cost. So I emailed Fred before I came in, and he said, I'm in the hearing right now. So I didn't get an update from him. I'm very sorry, but I'm sure we're probably going to get one any minute now on what's going on, or you'll probably read the paper tomorrow. So that's a very critical step for the foundation, as you guys know, because we see that as a possible option for the future. So it's one of several. But anyway, that's an important process that's coming along. And I think that was really it from the foundation. Jeannie, did you think of anything we did last time at the meeting that was worth discussing?
No, just that brainstorming on the campaign
Yeah.
to do the what libraries mean to me.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry, I had that here, and I forgot
it's-
what the official title, but, yeah, by the way, if you're interested, there's a questionnaire, and we ask that you answer a couple of questions, not all of them. We also need a release form with the website and a photograph. So it's to go on the website, and it's not live yet, but I can share with you some of the ones that have spoken, so, yeah.
Kind of joint, you said joint meeting?
Yeah, I would say we probably should look at maybe next month, or, didn't we say March anyway?
We did say
Yeah.
March.
So it's probably coming up time for us to have some sort of a joint meeting?
What?
You said we do need another couple things to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, let's be reasonable about that, because you've got a lot of things in March you're doing. And perhaps, Ed, an April meeting would be a better, so we
When's
said.
our meeting again? When do we meet again?
I'll tell you.
24th, isn't it?
March
29th.
29th of March.
Right.
Oh, this
Here's
is
why I like that
22nd.
idea. Let me
The
tell you what I
22nd
was
is always the
thinking.
same.
It's the 22nd.
This
March
is under my
22nd.
next duties, number 13. I think we need to invite Lisa Middleton to this next meeting because she's been asking when she's going to be
Oh,
invited.
that's right.
So can you take care of that, Jeannie, or would you prefer?
yes.
But, because she wanted to attend all the meetings individually
She
and
was
then
coming
attend the
today. She
joint
told me
meeting.
that.
She was?
Yeah,
Who invited her?
she asked me when the meeting is, and I
Oh.
told her, and
Well,
she
yeah, I
said-
understand that, but I think we
Yeah.
were let her know and invite her, put her on the agenda, but can we make sure that she attends? Because she wanted to go to all these meetings and then come to a joint meeting, so
Yeah.
April would be timely.
I think so. I think the staff has a lot on their plate, and hopefully Ron can get back, and maybe.
Right, and yeah,
April
March
is
will be
better
busy.
for
Let's
all of
ask
us.
her
That
to the
sounds
next
great.
meeting officially.
It's
I don't
just-
mind doing it either, too. If you've done it, I'll do it, but Jeannie, can you do it as well and see?
Yes.
What?
Invite her to the next meeting.
Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Jeannie. Yeah, Jeannie?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
take care of it.
That's my
Or the
library
president
foundation.
of
Okay.
of the board should invite her. one
She's
of
been
the
invited
other-
to the foundation meeting. I don't know if she'll come to the next
Yeah.
one or not, but she was invited, and she went to the Friends.
Yes.
I understand that was a
Yeah,
good
and then
meeting.
there was
It
some
was
sort
a
of,
good meeting.
she couldn't make
got
it to,
called away.
there was something she had to return to City Hall for, and she. so she
Pickleball. No,
Oh, I thought you
It's
It was
were.
a
true.
vote. It was.
To play or to
it
talk
was
about it?
pickleball and tennis players.
Okay.
Conflict.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
she laughingly said.
Okay.
Any
Yeah.
trustee comments or requests?
I just had one more I was gonna add, so I'm gonna roll. I wanted to share, this was what I did on my summer vacation. I was at ALA, Denver. I think that might be
Where
my
were
last
you?
one for a very long time.
Where were you?
Denver, at the American Library
Well,
Association.
you should have told
I
me.
attended a lot of sessions around trustees, friends, foundations. One of them that I just kind of wanted to share with you guys is one that really, and I've gone to so many of these, but it really kind of struck me, especially with what we've been talking about today. There was a whole program on future trends in libraries. And of course, I've been around way longer than some of you have been on the earth, but it's been, is there anything new I could learn? I have to tell you that this idea, this is from ALA, and it's a card set that they recommend when you're having strategic planning that you put this in front of you. It focuses on society, technology, education, the environment, politics and government, economics and demographics. And some of the coolest things pop up that I didn't realize,
Ask
like
me the one I know.
badging.
Badging? Bagging or badging?
Badging. Digital badges offer opportunities to recognize individual accomplishments. Connected toys.
Uh-oh. Talk about the one in education, and I.
Aging advances because of the aging population, right? Digital natives, the fact that we have a population that is strictly in digital, they've never known anything other like we all have. We're all old timers here, right? Income inequality.
Oh, well,
No, I'm preaching to the choir on some of these, but some of these I'd never heard of before. So it was flipped learning was the one that I thought was kind of cool.
we talked, Jeannie and I
What is
talked.
that?
Yeah.
You know?
And
What is
Why
it?
don't we do one
Robots.
of those at each meeting?
Robots,
Oh.
guys. Urbanization,
Yeah.
even for us, might be. But anyway, I just wanted you to share this. I thought that was a really cool program because it was accompanied with this process that the ALA took us through to identify, trends, the signals of those trends that we think might be important to our, not all of them would be, but some of them to our community, the values they reflect of our community, and then how do we innovate to meet those in the future. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing, but there was that and just some other things on how trustees should work together with their other organizations, and it was all.
I just wanted to add to that, because you were talking about innovations and paying attention to, essentially paying attention to things outside of libraries.
That's
And,
correct.
a lot of libraries will send staff to conferences that are not library conferences. So they'll go to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and, computer, gaming, whatever it might be. They go to all these different conferences just to get ideas. And then I forgot to mention it, but the Serving with a Purpose conference
Yes, I
is
have
coming
that
up.
down too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so were you gonna say? So
Just that to
I looked-
remind us.
I looked up the date and time, and so the Serving with a Purpose is Wednesday, May 2nd, from 9 to 4 in Ontario, and early bird registration ends April 1st, so it's $35. It's and Linda's gone, Ed's gone.
I'm gone.
If actually
Highly
you could go,
recommend.
I would.
I'll try to
there's
take off.
any way you can go.
It's a great conference.
It's really
It's really
wonderful.
worth your time.
The price is right. You get a sit-down lunch.
Yeah, to meet wonderful people in that beautiful.
By the way, too, I was with Deborah Doyle, who's head of CPLA. They would love to have a meeting in Palm Springs.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's gonna reach out to me and see if we
That'd be
would
great.
mind being,
You have to pay
Yeah,
your
but-
membership dues.
well, if we could help her, by the way, we being me, I told her I would help her, find a location, and I'm sure all of you would be invited, and they'd want to know about our programs and stuff like that.
She
But
was on my care committee years ago.
Are you done? I think, are you done?
yes,
Ed?
I'm done. Miss Chatty
Nick-
Cathy all day.
We all have been. At Serving with a Purpose a year ago, one of the women from Oceanside, Julie, said, she was president of the board, and she said they start their board meeting with a thought, kind of a quiet, getting everybody kind of quieted down. And I
Wow.
think this is very interesting. We should educate ourselves. I'd like to see you open our board meeting with one of those things and what it means. I mean, it's a minuscule thing, but we don't know. We should know that. Why couldn't you do that? You brought them
because-
out. You tempted us with it.
I'm happy to do that, but
I
I mean,
love it.
we have a lot of things on our agenda, but I
It
mean,
takes a minute.
maybe under strategic planning, we could
Or-
start talking about some things like, what are some of the trends that we're seeing? More importantly, you guys need to, but
Yeah.
I thought these were some that
I think
I would
they're
have
cool
never
idea.
thought of,
Yeah.
well
Added
beyond
starter.
my grade level.
It's, okay. All right. I want to give a shout out to Ed. Congratulations on your placement in the foundation. But at our book club at
more work.
Willwood Murray this week, your darling librarian got a standing ovation.
She did, what'd you do?
No,
No,
Scott.
Scott.
I thought you said her, you was looking at her.
No,
you said-
well, I just,
He.
it's Scott.
Oh,
That group has gone from 3 people to nearly 15, and a lot of them are writers, and they are really well-read and very articulate, and it's a very interesting conversation there. And at the end, they congratulated him on the superb books he selects, and everybody clapped for him. He turned scarlet. But you should know that, because I think it's a well-run group. And to the wonderful woman who decorates your library, Great kudos to
Her
her.
name's
Your
Irene
library is-
Navarro. She's
Yeah,
wonderful.
and that was said to me by a woman who's just moved here, that when she comes in the library, it's so efficient, it's so welcoming, and thanks to all of you. I
And
think you
now
need to
Arun
hear
is
that.
helping too. We have a couple of people who help out with that.
It's
just
just
It makes
wonderful.
it fun.
It's wonderful. And when the public comments about it, they don't know who I am. And she said, oh, I just love to go there. And I've had 3 people tell me, I just love to go to that library. So congratulations,
It's free on
staff.
Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Until
And
6.
imagine what we can do with more.
4 to 6. We close at 6.
And good job, Pro Tem.
Well, yeah.
It's great to have you
Here, here.
do that today.
Thanks.
Thank
And we
you.
miss our other colleagues.
We miss
Yes.
'em.
So,
So adjournment, do I need to make a motion for
you
adjournment?
betcha. Why not?
Yes.
But that we don't, like, whatever, it's not official, but whatever.
You can
You can
gavel
say
us
it's
out of
closed.
here.
Okay, the meeting is closed, 4:51.